elected. I think it's okay.
Donc c'est une rencontre publique. Bienvenue à la rencontre 63 du comité permanent de la citoyenneté et de l'immigration de la Chambre des communes. Conformément au paragraphe 108.2 du règlement et à la motion adoptée par le comité le 12 février et le 1er mai 2024, le comité entreprend son étude sur la transférabilité de la pension et l'accès aux fonds de prévoyance obligatoire et sur les retards dans le traitement de la résidence permanente et des visas pour les Hongkongais. Avant de commencer, j'invite les députés et les participants en personne à consulter intervention inaudible.
Your English is coming in French, and the French is also coming in French.
Oh, okay. Can we do this? Let me fix it.
Now you sound.
Good? Okay, now it is all good. So before we begin, I would like to ask all members and others in-person participants to consult the green and white card on the table for guidelines to prevent audio feedback incidents. Please take note of the following preventive measures in place to protect the health and safety of all participants, including the interpreters. Only use a black approved earpiece. Keep your earpiece away from all microphones at all times. When you are not using your earpiece, place it face down on the sticker placed on the table for this purpose. Thank you all for your cooperation. Today's meeting is taking place in a hybrid format. In accordance with the committee's routine motion concerning connection tasks for witnesses, I'm informing the committee that all witnesses have completed the required connection tasks and in advance of the meeting. I would like to make a few comments for the benefit of the members and the witnesses. Please wait until I recognize you by the name before speaking. For members in the room, please raise your hand if you wish to speak. For members on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. The clerk and I will manage the speaking order as best we can, and we appreciate your understanding in this regard. A reminder that all comments should be addressed through the chair. Before I go to the witnesses, I would love to welcome Mr. Falk, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Longfield, and Madam Delon to the committee, and looking forward to having good conversations. Before we begin, we have prepared a draft budget regarding the study of pension transferability and access to MPF and delays in permanent residence and visas for Hong Kongers in the amount of $5,000. Is there a motion to adopt this budget? Mr. Reddycop and Mr. Brunel de Sepp, all in favor. Anyone opposed? None. Carried. Now I would like to welcome our witnesses for the first panel. From Canada Hong Kong Link, we have Mr. Andy Wong, President. And from Hong Kong Watch, we have Eileen Calbrele, co-founder and chair. From Vancouver Society in Support of Democratic Movement, we have my dear friend from my neck of the woods, Madam Mabel Tong, chair. Welcome to you all. Up to 5 minutes will be given to each witness for the opening remarks, after which we will proceed with rounds of questions. We will begin with Mr. Wong from Canada Hong Kong link. You will have up to 5 minutes for your opening statements. Please go ahead, Mr. Wong.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, esteemed members of the Parliament. I'm Andy Wong, President of Canada Hong Kong Link, and we're a non-partisan, non-profit organization established in 1997. We promote freedom of democracy and democracy in Hong Kong, and we stand on guard for Canada's democracy. Thank you for having me. I'd like to thank this committee for again and again showing concern for Hong Kongers' situation. Hong Kong is increasingly totalitarian. Hong Kong National Security Police is monitoring Hong Kongers in the UK and here in Canada. The Hong Kong pathway is supposed to provide security and freedom from fear to the fleeing Hong Kongers. However, severe delays in the pathway are causing more insecurity and uncertainty in life. Without PR status, Hong Kongers cannot truly settle. Their immigration status is not permanent. Hong Kongers are afraid they may have to go back to Hong Kong. In fear of being monitored by Hong Kong and China, they cannot truly enjoy their freedom and human rights in Canada. PR is a ticket to a new life in the free world. Due to the delays in PR and work permit applications processes, a lot of applicants have fallen into maintained status for over half a year. This is the most unsettling status. They only hold work authorization letters that expire in 180 days. Many employers and other levels of government do not recognize this letter. They are constantly being asked for their new permit by employers or HR departments, school boards, healthcare ministers, etc. Each is threatening that if applicants do not have a new permit soon, they will lose their job, income, healthcare, or education for their kids. And some really have lost them. Our data shows most people who applied for PR in May 2023 or later are processed very slowly. A number of cases know from inquiries that their PR applications have passed all stages, but results are not released. We don't know why applications are being held up. A lot of these cases are in the Niagara Falls office. And half-jokingly, applicants said their cases have been thrown down the falls. Some of these applicants have been here for more than 3 years now, 2 years of study and more than 1 year of waiting. The processing time of the H&C category, including the Hong Kong pathway cases, is now 24 months. In every quarter of 2023, there were over 1,000 Hong Kongers getting PR through the pathway. But the first quarter of this year, that figure was just 335. Where is priority processing? Why are things slowing down when there is a huge backlog of over 9,000? How many years do they have to wait to get their PR? Is the Hong Kong pathway expedited as promised by the government when responding to this committee? To sum up, we have 3 demands. First, expedite the PR application process. And if that is really related, the increase in PR admission targets for H&C consideration. And 2, automatically renew work permits for Hong Kong pathway applicants so that they can get out of the maintained status. And 3, in view of the worsening situation in Hong Kong, extend the policy of open work permit for Hong Kong recent graduates to 2027 and the Hong Kong pathways to 2028. Without the PR, Hong Kongers are not able to get their MPF back. they're really not settled even financially. So I hope that this committee will reflect this. Thank you very much, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you very much. Perfect timing, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Now we will go to Madam Calberley for 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Good morning.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président. Bonjour, Mesdames, Messieurs les députés. Le Canada offre un programme de secours aux Hongkongais qui cherchent refuge.
Mr. Chang?
The translation is coming in French now instead of English.
Okay, can we double check?
Go ahead, speak.
Madam, can you speak few words?
Okay. I would like to highlight two challenges faced by immigrants
Okay,
from
so
Hong
let's
Kong.
start from the top. Let me reset the watch. Okay, here we go. Please go ahead.
Canada offers a lifeboat scheme to Hong Kongers seeking refuge in Canada. I would like to highlight two challenges faced by immigrants from Hong Kong. The first one on MPF. The ongoing prevention of Hong Kongers from withdrawing their own retirement savings from mandatory provident fund is a clear form of transnational repression. It is unjust that even Hong Kongers who have obtained their PR status are facing challenges in assessing their own savings. A Hong Konger who obtained Canadian PR applied to withdraw their MPF savings from Manulife, but was denied simply because they arrived in Canada with their BNO passport. In the Canadian PR card, so you can see the picture, under nationality, it's clearly state GBN, which stands for British National Overseas. This individual, like many others, is being denied the rightful access to their own savings. The MPF is a compulsory retirement savings scheme in Hong Kong. It allows Hong Kongers to withdraw their own retirement saving early if they depart Hong Kong permanently. Manulife and Sun Life, two Canadian MPF trustees, are blocking thousands of Hong Kongers from accessing an estimated $1.5 billion worth of retirement savings. Research by Hong Kong Watch shows that over 80% of survey of Hong Kongers who have permanently migrated to the UK and Canada and applied for MPF withdrawal have been rejected. The grounds for rejection are often based on argument that BNO passport and visa are not valid travel documents or do not demonstrate permission to reside outside Hong Kong. Despite the Hong Kong government NPFA releasing a statement in 2021 no longer recognizing the BNO passport, the NPF-related regulation, legislation, and terms the deeds governing entitlement to NPF benefits remain unchanged. Under the NPF trustee like Manulife and Sun Life have a legal obligation to release the saving to beneficiaries who can provide evidence of the right to reside in a foreign country. The BNO passport is a UK-issued document, and the BNO visa is not a temporary work permit. It provides routes to permanent settlement and British citizenship. Denying individuals with BNO passport their rightful access to their own saving is a violation of the fundamental rights. We cannot ignore this injustice. I urge parliamentarians to investigate this pressing issue and stand with the people of Hong Kong. On the second issue, I would like to talk about the Hong Kong pathway. I'm here to represent two groups of Hong Kongers consisting of over 1,000 members who applied for Stream A and Stream B PR application. Our objective is to request an increase in admission targets, clear the existing backlog, and ensure priority processing. There are approximately 60,000 Hong Kongers under the Hong Kong pathway. In the first quarter of this year, 335 applicants were granted PR. As of now, there are close to 9,000 pending PR applications. The Hong Kong pathway operates under humanitarian category. IRCC has set the emission target for H&R for 13,750 in 2024. But the allocation for Hong Kong pathway remains unknown. As we advocate for the increase in emission target for the Hong Kong pathway, it is crucial for IRCC to recognize the urgency of the situation and approve all PR applications submitted in 2023 within the next 2 years, and honor our commitment to the Hong Kong community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Perfect. Thank you. So now we will go to my neck of the woods, to Madam Thong. Mabel, you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead. You are muted. Mabel, can you please unmute yourself? Your mic is muted. No, you have to press right on.
Got it.
Okay, so let me reset the watch. Okay, Mabel, go ahead, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. My name is Mabel Tang, Chair of the Vancouver Society in support of the Democratic Movement, VSSDM. Our organization was founded after Beijing Tiananmen Square massacre on June 4, 1989. Our mission is the advocacy and advancement of democracy, freedom, human rights, and
Can I interrupt you for a second, please? Just a minute.
Yeah.
I will give the floor to Mr. Kimmich. Kimmich, you had something to say?
I didn't want to interrupt Mabel. I was just saying that we should raise the volume in the room so we can hear more clearly.
Sorry, Mabel will restart again. Sorry. Okay, all good.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Is it a bit better?
Yeah. It's not about you. It's just in the room here. So.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, I'll start again. Can
No,
you
just
press
a minute.
the
Just.
button of the call?
Pardon? Can we? Okay. Should we go ahead now? Mabel, can you speak few words just to say hello to all
Yes.
the committee
Hello.
members?
Hello.
Good.
Yeah. Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good. Mabel is good. So now I'm going to start the
Yeah.
watch again. See?
Okay. Thank you.
You know all about Sook. Okay,
Yeah.
Mabel. Please go ahead, Madam Thung.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. My name is Mabel Tang, Chair of the Vancouver Society of Democratic Movement, VSSDM. Our organization was founded after Beijing Tiananmen Square massacre on June 4, 1989. Our mission is the advocacy and advancement of democracy, freedom, and human rights and rule of law. Since its inception, the VSSDM have been working tirelessly to speak out against injustice and human rights violation in any part of the world. Since 2019, our organization has been working in aid of many Hong Kongers who have had to flee because of their involvement in pro-democracy work. Ever since the forced imposition of the draconian national security law in March of 2020, the lives of persons of conscience have become more dangerous every day. On March 23rd of this year, Hong Kong's puppet government unanimously passed into law and now infamous Article 23, ostensibly to protect key national interests. Article 23 expands upon Beijing national security law, allowing closed-door trials, giving the police rights to detain suspects without charge for up to 16 days. Hong Kong residents can now be arrested for the flimsy excuse under the catch-all and vague offenses of endangering national security, colluding with foreign forces, insurrection, and treason. If found guilty, the accused can be sentenced to life in prisons. Any Hong Konger of conscience will be unsafe to continue to reside in Hong Kong or to return to this once free and vibrant city. The recent announcement on May 27 by the Canadian government allowing Hong Kongers to apply for an extension of their work permit is just a band-aid measure. It does not address the main issues of obtaining permanent residency status. Consequently, the applicants will continue to live in a state of prolonged uncertainty, exacerbating their already high level of anxiety and insecurity as exiles from their homeland. Let me share a story from Hong Kongers in a very distressing situation. I graduated in 2016. I came in August 2021 with a work permit, which will soon expire on August 7. At that time, the requirement for getting PR was within 5 years post-graduation. My plan B was to study and get PR through Stream A. So I submit all my application to school and received the student's visa in May 2023. Then they released Stream B, extending the 5 years to 10 years in July. But I have to decide to continue in my study because I expect it will take about 6 months to get PR. In December 2023, I received a arrival letter from IRCC, which made me believe that my PR would come soon. In January 2024, my mom in Hong Kong had surgery. But it wasn't a major surgery, but it still caused a financial burden for my family. Up to now, I'm still paying international students' tuition fee. After May 2024, all student visa holders can't work over 20 hours a week. The delay in getting PR means I'm still paying International Student Union tuition fee, and I may have to consider quitting school or deferring. However, the new extension policy seems inapplicable because no one has received a letter called Acknowledgement of Receipt or PR application, AOR. If I defer or quit school, I will no longer have my student visa, and my work visa will expire. As a result, I will not be legally allowed to stay in Canada anymore. So this is just one example. So we have more Hong Kong's distress cases in our file. So we as a STEM strongly urge our government, first, to provide updated information resources to the frontline officer at the immigration processing centers, enable them to speed up the application process and eliminate unnecessary or unfair rejection of applicants. Secondly, to automatically renew work permits. Thirdly, to increase humanitarian compassionate consideration in application for permanent residency in Canada. The people of Hong Kong are suffering, and they are being suffocated by the authoritarian regime of the People's Republic of China. They are asking for your help, and they are asking for our help as well. So we urge you to give this recommendation your most serious consideration. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tong. 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So we will now go to the honorable members. Honorable members, if you can please point out who your question is to, and that will help. And to begin, I will go to Calgary Centre. My dear friend, Mr. McLean, go ahead, please, for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my remarks today will be, I think, totally delivered to Madame Calvary. Thank you very much. But thank you all, the witnesses, for coming and giving testimony here today. It's wonderful to hear your input in this committee. We've been expecting it for a long time. Our job here, of course, is to make sure that we get a pathway for Hong Kongers to get into Canada as seamlessly as possible. We want to make sure that we have a ready stream available for all kinds of Hong Kong immigrants to come to Canada. One of those necessities is, of course, income security once you get here. And that income security is predicated upon the Mandatory Provident Fund Scheme's authority and the rules that existed in order to get that money that was deducted from paychecks in Hong Kong over and available for the people that are moving to Canada, that want to set up lives here, so they have some financial security here as well. So just, Madam Calvary, the first question. The Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority, just for perspective, it's a mandatory deduction of 5% of the pay checks of everybody working in Hong Kong, kind of like the CPPIB, the Canada Pension Plan would be in Canada. Is that correct?
It is similar, but it's not government owned. So instead, So the deduction go to a financial company like Manulife and Sun Life. So they are called trustee. So money actually staying with the financial company instead of in the government.
Thank you. So it would be, as we say, a trustee holding it on behalf of the people. And prior to 2021, when the Hong Kong Special Administration regime actually changed their mind about how this was going, that Mandatory Provident Fund Authority funds would transfer when people changed their location, correct?
In 2021, the Hong Kong government, actually MPFA, issued a statement saying that they don't recognize BNO passport as a valid travel documents. And somehow financial companies, including Manulife and Sun Life, block Hong Konger to withdraw their savings if they use BNO passport as a form of identity. But I would like to make it very clear. The Hong Kong government issued this statement, but there's no law change under the MPF scheme. So it is very important. So I can share the legal argument with parliamentarians after this meeting. So it is very clear there is no change to the trustee deed. Unless the Hong Kong government changed the deed, then the trustee need to follow the change. No change, and therefore all the trustees, including Manulife and Sun Life, need to follow the law in Hong Kong to release the Hong Kong people's retirement savings. Unless there's a change and add clause to the law under the NPF scheme. So that's why a lot of Hong Konger receive a reply from financial company saying that they have not submit the right document. Actually, they submit everything. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And Madam Calverley, thanks for all the research your organization, Hong Kong Watch, has done on this, because your numbers are compelling. But the issues, of course, we're seeing here is that we've got 445, as you pointed out, 60,000 applicants in the queue to get in to gain Canadian citizenship here. Only 445 were approved in the first quarter this year. And we've obviously got a long queue here, but that queue is going to be dependent, of course, on arriving with your assets. Just give me some perspective. The average that you've pointed out to us in your documents here is the average size is $38,600 Canadian per person is the average. So with 60,000 Canadians coming over, that's going to have to be some replacement support that's going to have to be, these people are going to have to earn one way or another in order to maintain the retirement lifestyle that they've contributed to their whole working life, correct?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. It is very important that Hong Konger move to Canada can have access to their retirement savings, because a lot of them, they rely on this fund to settle in Canada. And a lot of them, they try to find job. It's not that easy. Even if they try to find job, they cannot find the profession they were in Hong Kong. So a lot of them, they rush to do any casual job to fulfill the Stream B requirement to work over 1,600 hours.
I have one last question. I'm sorry, Madam Calverley. Just I know that you've presented us with a sample of the card. What would you suggest should change in that card very clearly so that there is less discrimination from the BNO transfer into a Canadian permanent residency and then citizenship, if you could, please?
Yeah, so this is the PR card. Somehow on our PR card, there's a nationality. That means before you came to Canada, they show where you're from. So a lot of Hong Kongers, they either use the Hong Kong passport or BNO passport to apply for open work permit here. So somehow for the BNO passport holder, it shows GBN. So that's also an excuse for our trustee, like Manulife and Sun Life, to reject their application. So I would suggest, if possible, there's no need to show their previous nationality, and that will help them a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will go to Parliamentary Secretary, Mr. Chang. Mr. Chang, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'd like to thank the witnesses for being here today with us. My question is for all the 3 witnesses, whoever would like to answer my question. I'll appreciate that. And my question is a little bit long. In 2021, IRCC launched a special measure that allows eligible Hong Kong residents with recently completed post-secondary studies to apply for an open work permit, which provide open work permits for up to 3 years to those with post-secondary studies completed in the last 5 years and their eligible accompanying family members. In 2023, IRCC extended the open work permit measures for an additional 2 years and expanded eligibility to Hong Kong residents who have graduated within the past 10 years. They also put in place 2 new pathways to permanent residency, providing eligible Hong Kong residents in Canada with the opportunity to build their lives here. The first pathway is for those who have graduated from a post-secondary designated learning institution in Canada in the past 3 years with a degree, a diploma, graduate, or postgraduate credential. At least 50% of their program of studies must have been completed while physically present in Canada, either in person or online. These individuals can apply directly for permanent residence. The second pathway targets former Hong Kong residents who have gained a minimum of 1 year of full-time authorized work experience in Canada or the equivalent in part-time work experience in Canada at any skill level in the last 3 years. In August of 2023, IRCC expanded stream by removing the education requirement. IRCC will continue to monitor the situation in Hong Kong to ensure our immigration program remains responsive to the needs of Hong Kong residents wishing to come to Canada. So in your view, what additional measures can the government take to ensure that Hong Kongers know that they are safe here in Canada?
Please go ahead. Whose question to? Mr. Bong? Mr. Bong, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The simplest way, of course, is to expedite the PR applications, right? That is the ultimate goal, and that's the only way that people would feel that they really have settled in Canada. Yes, providing an open permit, as the committee motion earlier said, that will help. But the problem is that is still a temporary status, right? So people, and even worse is that waiting for the open permit, they need to go through a very long processing time. It's over half a year now. And they fall into that maintained status that I've mentioned in my speech. That is a huge problem. If either way, in the short run, we don't take them out of the maintained status, they'll be very unstable, really in limbo. But ultimately, it's the PR that's most important. Thank you.
Sorry, would Ms. Cavalier
Ms.
like to add to that?
Go ahead, please.
I would like to raise that a lot of applicants who apply in that OWP, actually majority rejected, and now they have to wait up until 8 months. So with the new scheme, which is good, but somehow in the website, it requires applicants to submit AOR, so acknowledgement of receipt. 99% of the applicants actually don't have it. I wonder whether if IRCC can clarify on that or waive that. That's very important. Another one, this is a very good scheme to help Hong Kong people. However, police certificates is required. So that is another big issue. Like one famous Hong Kong activist tried to apply ETA to come to Canada. Over 2 months, no result and no reply. So I wonder why someone like him, Ray Wong, he got refugee status in Germany, but he cannot come to Canada. So, and I want to raise that now the waiting time with the open extension of open work permit, people will have to wait for 7 years to get PR status. If we remain to approve only 335 applicants per quarter.
Honourable member, you want Madam Tong to say as well?
Yeah. I just want to say that I think more information resources to the immigration processing center will be helpful, because I think a lot of them, some of the rejected, unfairly rejected application. This just due to some of the officers, they lack of information or they lack of understanding what the pathway really means to some of the Hong Kongers. So I think that more information and resources, that would be great if we can give it to those officers.
Thank you, and your time is up, Mr. Cheng. 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Sorry. We will come back. Now we will go to Mr. Bruno Desep. Mr. Bruno Desep, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to all our witnesses who are with us today for this very important study. I'm just checking that you all have your earpieces in. Great. So I just wanted to come back to the recent decision. My question will be for Ms. Calvary. So 47 people in Hong Kong organized an unofficial election and were accused of having violated the national security laws. I think we can confirm that this ruling is an attack on democracy. Could you talk to us about the sanctions on Hong Kong?
Yes, so there's a verdict last week. So among the 16 who actually did not plead guilty, actually 14 of them were, plead guilty. So actually among the 47, 45 will be in prison. But of course, majority of them, they're already in prison, close to, I think, over 3 years. So this is injustice. Canada need to do more to help these people, and especially we got over 300,000 Hong Kongers living in Hong Kong. They are Canadian citizens. They are under threat. So Canada need to not only issue statement. So I appreciate our government issue a statement to condemn the verdict, to condemn the violation of human rights in Hong Kong. But Canada need to do more. I have not seen any action from Canada to do more than just a piece of statement. I think official sanction-related company, I think is essential to stop this going forward.
Merci pour ça.
Thank you. Mr. Wong. Recently, May 7th, 2024, over 3 years after the open work permit was opened for Hong Kongers, a new political policy was opened to allow PR applicants to get status and to receive an open work permit in Canada as they are waiting for a decision on their PR application. Have you found an improvement in the processing of open work permits for Hong Kongers who are waiting for a response on their PR application?
Mr. Wong.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. I think the problem is that that policy is pretty new. It's just last week. So we do not know if the new policy actually has sped up the open work permit. And as other witnesses has mentioned, no one has ever seen that AOR, right, which is a requirement for that new open work permit. So that is a huge problem. It's not really helping those who are currently waiting for some kind of a work permit to continue their status in Canada. That's not helping those people who are already waiting. But for the people who just applied recently for the Hong Kong pathway, they now have a clearer path, a bridge between their current permit, which is expiring, to the PR status. That is a good thing. But for the majority of those who are waiting, that backlog, those people are still waiting. A lot of them waited for over half a year, especially if they're applying for the open work permit for the Hong Kong recent graduates. That open work permit was supposed to be for people who are still in Hong Kong. But they're now using it in Canada to, continue their status here. Yeah.
Honourable member.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. Ms. Cavalry, April 30th, 2024, the Canadian financial institutions. Should I begin again? I'll start again so that you are able to listen to the interpretation. April 30th, 2024, Canadian financial institutions make up 40% of MPFs in Hong Kong, and they make about $69 million on individuals' money in these funds. So, in your opinion, does the government of Canada have a responsibility in resolving this solution? And if yes, what should the government do with these institutions, Ms. Cavalry?
Responsibility. I think because we got Hong Konger moving to Canada. So this is a light bulb scheme. So it's supposed to help them to settle, to live in Canada, to become Canadian citizen. And now yet their money withheld actually by some Canadian company. To me, this is completely outrageous. They are not only suffering when they come here to wait for so long to get PR, and then they cannot get their money. So this is completely outrageous. And this money is not holding with Hong Kong government. This money are holding with Manulife and Sun Life.
It's right on 6 minutes. Thank you. 6:01. Good. So now we'll go to Madam Kwan. Madam Kwan, if you go ahead, please, 6 minutes, and who you want the question, if you can mention first. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all three of the witnesses, Hong Kong Link, VSSDM, and Hong Kong Watch, not just for appearing today, but for your ongoing work in support of Hong Kongers. I truly, deeply appreciate that. My first question is around the interim measure. The government has announced this interim measure is really meant to be a bridging process. However, related to that, and as we heard, what Hong Kongers really need is permanent residence status. And related to the permanent residence status is the immigration levels numbers, because the levels plan this year under the category of H&C and protected persons is set at 13,500. Next year is at 8,000. The following year is at 8,000 also. So in light of those limitations, in order to facilitate for applications to be processed for PR for Hong Kongers, would the government need to change the immigration levels numbers and have a dedicated path for Hong Kongers? I'm going to start with you, Andy, please.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you for the question. I think the problem is RCC is saying that the immigration level plan is a problem. But I'm really not sure, right? Because in 2021 and 2022, the PR emission numbers were actually way above the high range of the target for H&C. And then last year, there was 10% that was not used. Right, so is the target really that important? I'm really not sure, right? I'm really puzzled, and I think the public is also puzzled in this case. But if that actually affects the allocation of resources and all that stuff, then yes, of course, they should increase it. And if the decreasing target means, less resources in the coming years, then no, that is not dealing with the problem. Right. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Eileen, and I'm going to go to Mabel on Zoom on the same question, please.
Thank you. Madam Carble and then Madam Tung. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So the emission target for this year is 13,750. The upper range will be 18,000. Our research showing that for all category under humanitarian, only 65% actually use up the emission target. So I don't know what's going on. So even if they do it 100%, still cannot process 9,000 application pending. So I think it is very good suggestion to take Hong Kong pathway outside from the 4 category. So to have a separate category to approve all the PR as soon as possible. Otherwise, with 60,000 applicants, now only approve 10,000, 50,000, it will take a few decades to approve all this PR application.
Thank you. Mabel, please go ahead. Mabel, you are on mute. Could you unmute your mic, please? Unmute. Saying good. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I did. Okay. I do agree with the last two speakers, but I think it also has to be increased in humanitarian and compassionate numbers as well. But one thing I want to emphasize on the one that just mentioned, May 27, that extended to the work permit. That it seems like what I heard from those Hong Kongers in Vancouver, none of them able to get the extension because of the AOR. So I think the department should look into it and see anything they can do to improve this process. Otherwise, you put in the policy here out, but nobody benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
Thank you for that. Related to this issue, one of the things that the government has not done is to automatically provide or extend people's work permit. If they were to do that, it would save a lot of resources, I would think, for the department, and then you would ensure that people can seamlessly continue their work. So I guess on this question, to all the witnesses, and again, in the same order to which people answer, would you call on the government to automatically renew Hong Kongers' work or study permit? Or alternatively, just automatically provide them with an open work permit so that they don't have to go through an application process as required right now.
Thank you. There are 45 seconds, so witnesses, please briefly. Mr. Wong.
Okay, so I absolutely support that. That will help the people who are currently in maintained status, but that is not the final goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Calvary.
I think for those who have OWP open work permit is possible, but for those with spousal open work permit, possibly not possible, because a lot of the permit actually expire over 8 months. So it will be a difficult task for this group of people.
Madam Tung.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no matter what, I think it's 100% agree to automatically renew the work permit.
You have 7 seconds, Madam Kwan. You want to use? No?
Well, thank you
okay.
to all the witnesses for the comments.
Thank you very much, Madam Kwan. So we will go for the second round. 4 minutes Conservatives, 4 minutes Liberal, 2 minutes Bloc, and 2 minutes NDP. So we'll start with Mr. Kmich. Mr. Kmich, 4 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So it'll be to Ms. Cavalry. Just to go back on this MPF issue, the MPFA, so the administrator released a statement on the 10th of March 2021 saying that because the British National Overseas Passport was no longer recognized by the Hong Kong government as a valid travel document as well as proof of identity, as of the end of January 2021, those trying to withdraw their MPFs early before retirement wouldn't then be able to rely on the BNO passport. Now, there's not a lot of BNO passport holders that have come to Canada. I think many people have admitted to that, but there are some. And then their documents, because when the PR card is printed, will look like this, and it'll say GBN on it. So I've taken the time to go through the website, and I'm going to ask you whether this is a potential solution, because I want IRCC to fix this problem, because it's allowing the Hong Kong, Beijing governments to repress Hong Kongers who are trying to come to Canada and reestablish themselves, which all three of you have mentioned. So on the website, there are 4 options for PR nationality. It says GBS, UK British subject, subject to control, GBR, UK British citizen, GBO, UK British overseas citizens, and GBN, UK British overseas citizen. And like 9 times out of 10, this is a Hong Konger. This then appears on the PR card. So when the Hong Konger gets PR, and there's many of them waiting to get PR, so this will become a bigger and bigger problem, we're basically identifying to the MPF accounts, whether with Manu or Sun Life, when they're applying through the process, and then they get these rejection letters, like I have one right here, that says you can't have it because the BNO is not a recognized document. The only way to know that a Hong Konger came to Canada, is a permanent resident of Canada, is when their PR card says GBN, instead of saying for Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, CHN. So wouldn't the solution be just for IRCC to change their admin and just label all Hong Kongers as CHN on their PR cards? I'll go to Ms. Caverly first, and Mr. Wong and Mabel.
Please go ahead, Madam Caverly.
I think this is a wonderful idea. I think there's no need to identify these people holding BNO passport. I think by changing the code, that will be much easier. And also, all these people who got BNO passport, they were born in Hong Kong. So they got ID card and they can get Hong Kong passport. So that means actually it's possible to use CHN.
Mr. Wong.
Yeah, I agree with that recommendation. That would be good.
Madam Tong. Mabel, you are on mute. Thank you. Go ahead.
Got
please.
it. Yeah, I totally agree.
Mr. Kmich.
Chair, how much time do I have left?
1 minute and 7 seconds.
To Ms. Cavalry, and to any of you who've been told this, back in October of 2023, 20 individuals were arrested in Hong Kong for trying to help Hong Kongers obtain their mandatory pension fund funds. Like, this is like private, this is privately held. We've established that. These aren't government funds. These are privately held retirement funds. This is a form of transnational repression that Beijing is using the Hong Kong SAR to basically go after Hong Kongers overseas. Have there been other arrests, and have you spoken with Hong Kongers who are worried about this process of obtaining their own pension retirement funds, either now or later when they're in Canada?
Madam Cavalli.
This is very worrying for everyone with BNO passport or Canadians, PR here with BNO passport coming to Canada, because they're afraid to be arrested. Some of them even afraid to go back to Hong Kong with the identity with BNO passport. So this is a very serious issue. So this is, to me, is transnational repression. Even you escape to Canada, escape to the UK, you're holding a BNO passport, that's no good. I think after the arrest, a lot of Hong Kongers are very afraid to go back to Hong Kong.
Thank you very much. Time is up, 4:16. So now we will go to Mr. Al-Khoury. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome to our guest. My first question addressed to Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong, if you could briefly, please, tell the committee, after the handover in the late 90s, what negative impact was on the citizen of Hong Kong? And number two, how does your organization is helping those Hong Kongers who are here currently in Canada and subjected to a challenge facing by our immigration system? Sorry.
Please go ahead, Mr. Wong.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Well, after 1997, it's a gradually deteriorating situation in Hong Kong, and especially since 2014, 10 years ago, when people were occupying the streets to demand for democracy. Then the control got even worse, and 2019, in the anti-extradition bill movement, that was the most important, because next year in 2020 there was the national security law, and just March this year there was the new local legislation on national security, and all that is just all of that. Those laws are just dismantling the whole civil society and just not letting anyone speak out in Hong Kong. Now, what Canada-Hong Kong Link does is that we monitor the situation and we communicate with parliamentarians and also the government with GAC to raise our concerns. And it's a good thing that now at least GAC would issue statements, at least on Hong Kong's issues. And very recently, because of, and we are of course lobbied to get this lifeboat scheme, Hong Kong Pathway, back in 2020-21. And we continue to monitor the situation, and that's why we're here right now, right? To follow up on ways to help Hong Kongers to come to Canada and really settle in Canada. Okay, thank you.
Merci. Ma deuxième question
Thank you. My second question is for Ms. Cavalry. Ms. Cavalry, if you look at Canada's measures on this issue, and you compare these measures to measures coming from other countries, would you recommend that Canada should learn from these other countries and the measures that they have taken? Thank you.
I think should learn from other countries like the UK 5+1 in the Canadian libel scheme. So people apply study permit. That has nothing to do with Stream A or Stream B. Only after they graduated, they apply for Stream A. So that is completely separate scheme. And for Stream B, it's the same. People apply for open work permit. When they fulfill the requirement, they apply for Stream B. So it's all three different schemes. So that's why some people actually fell out from the system. So I think it's better to have one scheme for everyone to apply for Stream A and Stream B from Hong Kong. That will be solving the problem. And also, we need to guarantee when they fulfill all the requirements, staying in Canada for 2 to 3 years to fulfill the requirement, when they apply for PR, they should get it within 6.5 months, not waiting another 21 months or even longer.
Thank you. The time is 4:00, right on the clock. So I'm going to go to Mr. Bruno Duceppe. You have 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Cavalry. Ms. Cavalry, do you know anyone personally who was harassed by authorities here in Canada, by foreign authorities?
Madam Cavalry.
I can say that I'm one of them. So actually, someone outside my home, so watching me, so I report to CSIS and LCMP. And recently, because I advocate for over 1,000 Hong Konger, and I got threatening email written in Chinese language, and I have also reported to LCMP. So although with the threat, I will continue to fight. I will continue to speak up for our fellow Hong Konger.
Monsieur le Président, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Wong. So the federal government currently is not acting enough. What are the consequences on Hong Kongers' concerns here in Canada?
Madam Cavalry.
Because a lot of the Hong Konger, they're afraid to even to join gathering or any rally, anything speaking up for freedom and democracy. So we are in a free country. Hong Konger, he should be feeling safe, but obviously they don't. That's why when they attend rally, they put the mask on or simply not attending.
Honourable member.
La question s'adresse à...
The question was also for Mr. Wong. I think you understood the question.
Yes, thank you for the question. I totally agree with Ms. Cavalli on this. And people are, because they're still in a temporary status, and they are afraid that they might need to go back to Hong Kong because their status is not permanent, right? If their status is permanent, then perhaps they can just stay in Canada. That would be better. Right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bong. And Mr. Brunel Desep, we will go to Madam Kwan. Madam Kwan, 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. On the Mandatory Provident Fund, the fact is that when a person proves that they're permanently leaving the territory, the BNO visa holders are legally permitted to withdraw their savings once they provide that proof that they have departed Hong Kong permanently and with no intention of returning. But yet, this is the situation. They can't access their pension funds. So what do you think the Canadian government can do with respect to holding, I think, Canadian banking agencies accountable in following the law? I'll start with Aileen, please, on this question, and then we'll go around.
Thank you. I think the government really need to put pressure on our financial company. It is a pure injustice. So these people, they are PR in Canada. Just with a passport, with BNO passport, then they cannot access to their fund. It is outrageous injustice. And for people in the UK BNO visa is another scheme leading to citizenship. Is not only permanent residence. So that should be a proof of permanently living in Hong Kong. And I want to add that for the change of the PR card should be HKG instead of CHN. So that will be better. HKGs mean Hong Kong. And our colleague actually got the new PR card. She got Hong Kong passport, so it's under HKG.
Thank you. In terms of accountability from banking institutions, what measures do you think needs to be taken more specifically? Because they're violating the law, as far as I can understand. Under what authority do they have to withhold people's pension funds? So maybe we'll try Andy and then maybe Mabel on that question.
Mr. Wong, go ahead, please.
Right. So
please.
My understanding is that financial institutions operating in Hong Kong, they are in a situation where they're asked to comply with two sets of laws, one in Hong Kong, one in Canada, right?
Yeah, sorry, but these are Canadian banking institutions, though.
So the problem is whether the Canadian banking institutions actually are standing for Canadian values. That is a question that needs to be asked. Thank you.
Madam Tung, your time is up, though, but yes. Please go ahead.
Oh. I think, whatever in Hong Kong, we can't control it by our government. But inside Canada, I think our government should put more pressure to our banking agency to fulfill our Canadian value to make sure the Hong Kong is able to access those funds.
Thank you. On behalf of the committee members, I want to thank Mr. Wong, Madam Cavalli, and Madam Tung for being here with us, sharing your thoughts. Thank you, and we'll suspend for 5 minutes for the second panel. Suspended. So we are resuming with witnesses of the second panel, and welcome back, members. I would now like to welcome our witnesses for the second panel. From Sun Life Financial Services of Canada, we have Ms. Laura Hewitt, Vice President and Head, Global Government Affairs and Public Policy. From the Manufacturers Life Insurance Company, we have Ms. Mary Scott Greenwood, Global Head, Government Relations. Welcome, Ms. Greenwood and Ms. Hewitt. You have 5 minutes each to do the opening remarks. And we will start with Madam Hewitt. Please go ahead for 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and a pleasure to be here with you today. I would like to begin by thanking the committee for the chance to appear on this important study and clarify the role that MPF trustees like Sun Life play in the early MPF application withdrawal process. At the outset, we want to assure the committee that Sun Life does not decline Canadian permanent residents or citizens who have permanently left Hong Kong from withdrawing their Sun Life MPF funds. On the contrary, as I will outline in my remarks, we have in fact accepted 97.5% of all applications for early MPF withdrawal due to permanent departure since 2021. Hong Kong is one of Sun Life's longest standing international markets, where we have held continuous presence since 1892. Most of our product and service offerings in Hong Kong are long-term and span several decades, including life insurance, health insurance, asset management, and of course, pension management, including as one of 13 approved trustees to administer the MPF program, Hong Kong's mandatory retirement savings plan for all workers. At Sun Life, our purpose is to help our clients achieve lifetime financial security and live healthier lives. In any jurisdiction where we operate, whether it be our home base of Canada, in the United States, or in Hong Kong, Sun Life is focused on meeting the needs of our clients. Each market and each client has distinct needs, and we tailor our approach to best support them. We also ensure we are compliant with the specific laws and regulations of each of those markets, which enables us to serve our clients to the best of our ability. These principles are true for Hong Kong and for early MPF withdrawal requests by clients who have permanently left Hong Kong, which is the nature of our discussion today. I want to provide committee members some context into how the early MPF withdrawal application approvals process works and the role that trustees such as Sun Life play in the process versus the role that the Hong Kong MPF regulator, the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority, or the MPFA plays. There are two levels of approval for any early MPF withdrawal request. The first level of approvals is done through the MPF trustee, such as Sun Life. The trustee reviews all documentation provided by the applicant and either accepts or declines the application based on whether they have successfully met the criteria for early withdrawal. In the case of early withdrawal due to permanent departure, there are three criteria. First, a statutory declaration that the applicant has permanently departed or will permanently depart Hong Kong on a certain date. Second, proof of permission to indefinitely reside outside of Hong Kong. And third, an applicant may only use the permanent departure from Hong Kong stream once in their lifetime for early MPF withdrawal. If the trustee determines that the applicant has successfully met all three criteria, the application is approved and is sent to the MPFA for final approval. The MPFA has access to an applicant's entire MPF history, including any former early withdrawal requests for reasons of permanent departure. In rare cases, Sun Life has approved an application for early withdrawal based on the documentation submitted to us, but upon the MPFA's review, the client was declined due to having received a prior payout under the permanent departure stream. To provide a clear picture for committee members in this important study, I would like to share the following data for the committee to consider. Between 2021 and Q1 2024, Sun Life processed a total of 14,590 applications for early MPF withdrawal due to permanent departure from Hong Kong. 97.5% of these applications were approved by both Sun Life and the MPFA. Of the remaining 2.5% of applications that were not approved, approximately 1.2% of applications were declined by Sun Life for failing to meet the criteria or administrative reasons, such as missing or incomplete paperwork. and approximately 1.2% were approved by Sun Life but subsequently declined by the MPFA for having previously received a payout under the permanent departure stream. Of the applications declined by Sun Life, there were only 2 clients with Canadian citizenship or permanent residency who were declined for administrative reasons, such as incorrectly filled out forms or missing supporting documents. In closing, I want to reassert to committee members what we said at the outset. Sun Life is not denying Canadian permanent residents or citizens who have permanently left Hong Kong from withdrawing their Sun Life MPF funds. In fact, our record shows we have approved all eligible and properly completed applications. Again, I thank the committee for the chance to appear before you today and hope this information will help you study this important issue. I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Madam Hood. Now we'll go to Madam Greenwood. 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. C'est un grand honneur pour moi d'être parmi vous.
It's a great honor for me to be here with you today.
My name is Mary Scott Greenwood. I serve as the Global Head of Government Relations at Manulife. It's an honor to appear before this parliamentary committee. The meeting was noticed quickly, and so I'm appearing remotely from Washington, for which I apologize. I am pleased to provide background on Manulife's pension business in the Indo-Pacific region and to try to answer your questions. A proudly Canadian company, Manulife was founded 137 years ago. Today, we provide financial services to 35 million customers around the world, including 7 million Canadians. Financial services are one of Canada's most important export categories. We are proud not only of our Canadian heritage, but also of our role in shaping Canada's impact on the largest growing population in the world, the Indo-Pacific, where we have had a presence for 125 years. Manulife has been providing financial services in Hong Kong since 1898. We currently have 2.5 million customers there and 2,470 employees. We're here today to talk about pensions. A pension is a long-term product. Pensions are designed to ensure that people fund their retirement. Almost all pension systems, including pensions in Canada and in the United States, restrict individuals from accessing their pension money before retirement age. This is done to ensure that the funds are available for retirement. Hong Kong pensions, like ours here at home, are similarly restricted. In 1995, Hong Kong passed legislation to require most workers to have a pension. These pensions, called MPF, were launched in 2000, and Manulife was one of the first companies to offer these pension plans to workers. Currently, there are 13 MPF trustees, including Manulife, who offer 27 MPF plans to about 4.5 million members, 330,000 participating employers. The pension laws in Hong Kong allow for pensions to be withdrawn prior to the age of 65 only in specific circumstances set out in legislation, including early retirement after the age of 60, permanent departure from Hong Kong, total incapacity, terminal illness, small balance, or death. To unlock their pension due to a permanent departure from Hong Kong, a customer must provide evidence, which includes documents showing that they have obtained a right to permanently reside in a jurisdiction outside of Hong Kong. For Hong Kong pension holders moving to Canada, this means providing evidence that they have been granted permanent residency or have Canadian citizenship. Once we receive Canadian government authorized evidence of permanent resident status or citizenship and satisfied all the requirements, Manulife's MPF operations in Hong Kong can process the application for early unlocking of the pension. For total clarity, Manulife does not and is not authorized to waive residency or citizenship requirement to unlock the pension for Hong Kong workers. From 2021 to 2023, Manulife received about 4,650 requests from customers requesting pension funds be unlocked for reasons of permanent departure from Hong Kong to Canada. Manulife was able to process applications on the grounds of permanent departure for 3,750 applicants who moved to Canada. We were unable to process applications from about 900 customers for a variety of reasons, including insufficient documentation, forms filled out incorrectly, or having previously unlocked an MPF pension. In offering life insurance and pension products, Manulife makes a long-term commitment to our customers for their financial security. We abide by our contracts in accordance with relevant laws. Our commitments span decades, and our responsibility to honor our obligations to our customers has been at the core of our business for 137 years. We are proud that 35 million customers around the world have chosen Manulife to help them save for retirement and to protect their families with life and health insurance. Thank you very much. I would be happy to try to answer your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Greenwood. And now I'll go to the honorable members. Honorable members, in the beginning, if you can point out who your question is to, and that will help. So we'll start with my dear friend again. Mr. McLean, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, both representatives of financial institutions that are here today. We appreciate your comments. Your comments do differ greatly with the figures that have been provided to us, so I'm going to ask you some pointed questions about how you're arriving at your numbers. The numbers we see coming out and predicated on the fact that, of course, there is this issue since 2021 with the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region saying that people leaving Hong Kong on a British national overseas passport were not eligible to have their mandatory provident fund schemes deposits taken with them. Has your policy changed since 2021? I'll ask Madam Hewitt, first of all, please.
Madam Hewitt, go ahead, please.
So there are very clear criteria articulated for the early departure, as I outlined in my opening remarks, which includes evidence of the ability to permanently depart or indefinitely depart Hong Kong. And that has been true since before 2021, and it remains true today. And I think that our numbers, including, as I shared, the 97.5% approval rate for applications and the approval of all eligible Canadians and Canadian permanent residents, shows that we continue to give access to those funds for those who are eligible for the early departure stream.
Remember.
Well, thank you, and I respect that you're the trustee for these individuals, not for any government. The data we see is that 90% of and your two firms are the most stringent about turning down the actual applications that come in through the British national's overseas passport, and that you turn down about 90% of them in that respect. But the reason you turn down it and recognized when you decline it is that the BNO visa is not recognized as a valid document. Is that the case why you're turning it down? Because it does differ strongly with the numbers you presented, Mrs. Hewitt.
Madam Hewitt.
Yes, so as my numbers shared, we are approving all eligible Canadian permanent residents and Canadian citizens. The BNO passport is not sufficient proof of ability to permanently reside outside of Hong Kong, but once those folks have their eligible documentation in terms of permanent residency and or citizenship, whether that be for Canada or in another jurisdiction, then as our record shows, we will approve those applications as soon as they meet the eligibility.
Okay, thank you. So they're not eligible if they come to Canada on a BNO passport. Even after they gain permanent residency in Canada, are they then eligible, even though they came over on a BNO passport?
Madam Hewitt.
Yes, so they are eligible once they have permanent residency, Canadian permanent residency, and as our numbers have shown, we are approving all of those applications. The two examples that I shared of Canadian permanent residents who have been declined by Sun Life since 2021 was for missing or incomplete paperwork, and those folks are able to reapply. We've actually had instances.
Thank you. So our information shows that when Hong Kongers come over to Canada on the BNO passport and then become permanent residents in Canada, that they're still indicated on their permanent residency card that they came over on the BNO, and then they're actually turned down to move over the funds that are provided from the mandatory provident fund. Is that correct?
Madam Hewitt.
So I can just speak on behalf of Sun Life. The permanent residency is sufficient proof of ability to permanently depart, and so we are approving those applications regardless of which passport they are using. We proactively ask them for their Hong Kong ID cards, and we will continue to approve those applications.
Honourable member.
Can I ask the same question to Ms. Greenwood, please? Ms. Greenwood, do you hold back any of the funds allocated because of it comes in through the BNO passport before the person is a Canadian permanent resident?
Ms. Greenwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thank the member for the question. And the answer is we do not decline to process an application for reasons of the BNO visa or passport. That is not one of the reasons. The issue really is whether or not an individual has the right to permanently reside in Canada or elsewhere. And so permanent residency evidence, citizenship, that is what is they are able to use in support of their application for the early withdrawal of their MPF pension fund.
Honourable member.
Well, thank you. We do have a great discrepancy of information here because according to the information we're provided by the researchers at one of the Hong Kong Watch, it shows that your two companies, Canadian companies with subsidiaries in Hong Kong, are sitting in about 3.7 billion Canadian dollars worth of pension assets that belong to Hong Kongers, some of whom are discouraged to apply because of the record. What we see sometimes is a 90% decline rate in this. So you're saying that the numbers you have are far different than the numbers were being provided by research organizations.
Who's your question to, Ms.
I'll go to Ms. Hewitt first of all.
Please go ahead, Madam Hewitt.
Yes, so again, I'd like to confirm that we are approving those applications. And so for those individuals that are eligible, we hope that our numbers today give them comfort and assure the committee that we are approving eligible applications. And,
well, just hold on. You keep saying eligible. Yeah.
One at a time.
You keep saying
if you
eligible.
Raise your hand, I will manage that.
Yeah. Madam.
Honourable member.
Madam Hewitt, you keep saying eligible, and
yes.
It seems like it's a, if you don't mind me saying so, I'm thinking it might be a crutch about, okay, eligible, but to be eligible, you're only 10% are actually eligible. But, you know, so I'm trying to square the numbers between you've given and what we've been provided previously.
Time is up. Madam Hewitt, quick answer, please.
Yes, so those who are eligible, I'm just referring to the criteria for proof of early permanent departure. So are you able to permanently reside outside of Canada? A Canadian permanent residency card or Canadian citizenship are both examples of eligibility. And so just to confirm, we have approved 97.5% of all applications, including all Canadians with the exception of those two that I mentioned who had incorrectly completed paperwork.
Thank you very much. Now, before I go to Mr. Al Khoury, my friend, we would love to welcome Mr. Bloy. Mr. Bloy, welcome to this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, now, Mr. Al Khoury, my friend, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome to our witnesses. My first question is addressed to both reality, to Ms. Greenwood and to Ms. Hewitt. The UK government issues a British National Overseas BNO status to Hong Kong residents. Have Manulife and Sun Life refused to recognize BNO status in line with the Chinese government's current position? Can you tell this community why you don't recognize this status?
Ms. Greenwood.
Thank you so much for the question. So a BNO visa or passport does not convey the right in Canada to permanently reside in Canada. That's a decision of the Canadian government, actually. So it is therefore not used to support an application for early withdrawal of MPF pension funds. There are a number of criteria that are acceptable, which I'm happy to go through the steps. I would just let the honorable member know that from 2021 to 2023, our operations in Hong Kong received 4,650 requests for early withdrawal for reason of permanent departure to Canada, and we were able to process these requests for 3,750 applicants. It was 160 customers that did not provide sufficient evidence of the right to permanently reside in Canada. So that could have been a student visa, that could have been some other form of paperwork. For the remaining customers that we weren't able to process, it would have been another documentation or administration issue, a mismatched signature, or perhaps they had already withdrawn their MPF previously early. But what I would like to let the committee know is there's a process to reapply. So from the point of view of the trustee, we abide by the laws and the regulations that are set forth in every single jurisdiction around the world in which we operate. They're similar in Canada and the United States, and we apply those laws faithfully. The question of permanent residency and citizenship is, of course, one for governments to determine.
Madam Hewitt.
Yes, so as my colleague has noted, there are the clear steps that I outlined for early withdrawal. And so I can speak to Sun Life's position, which is that we continue to approve and have approved 97.5% of all applications we have received for early withdrawal. And those include Canadians who have Canadian citizenship and Canadian permanent residency, which are both proof of permanent departure that we're able to accept for permanent withdrawal of the MPF funds.
Honourable Member.
Thank you. Madam Hewitt, what challenges have your respective insurance agencies had in providing pension benefits to Hong Kongers in Canada who have made claims?
Madam Hewitt.
So as I was able to share with the committee, so for Hong Kongers who have obtained Canadian citizenship or Canadian permanent residency, we are pleased to share that after reviewing all of our numbers, we have approved all of those applications, as I noted, with the exception of the two that are welcome to reapply. And so that has been our experience, that eligible Hong Kongers who have departed, who meet the criteria, continue to have access to the funds through the early MPF withdrawal process, and Sun Life continues to process those applications and work with anybody who has questions about the process or may need additional information about the early withdrawal process.
Honourable Member.
Madam Greenwood, have you encountered issues with repatriating pension funds to Canada from offshore Chinese holding accounts? What is the issue here?
Madam Greenwood.
I apologize. I'm not sure I understand the question. Is it the same question about?
Stop the watch and repeat the question.
Thank you so much.
Have you encountered issues with repatriating pension funds to Canada from offshore Chinese holding accounts? What is the issue here?
Madam Greenwood.
Thank you so much. If I understand the question about unlocking pensions from people departing Hong Kong, we've processed more than 80% of the applications to Canada, but the ones we haven't been able to, which I think is your question, the inability to process the applications for permanent departure would be caused by various factors that would include insufficient documentation, an unmatched signature or a missing signature or another error, or for some people already having withdrawn the funds on a previous occasion. That's only allowed once in your life. So if you depart Hong Kong, unlock your pension, return to Hong Kong, and depart again, you've used your one-time early unlock. Of course, your pension remains until you turn 65 or retire. The other challenges would be if you had a travel, a temporary, or a student visa. At the present time, those do not permit permanent residency in Canada, and so we would be unable to unlock for those types of documentation as well.
Thank you. Right on 6 minutes. We will go to Mr. Brunel Sepp. Go ahead for 6 minutes.
Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you and welcome to our witnesses today. It's very kind of you to participate in this study. I have a simple question for both our witnesses. Are the early withdrawal criteria the same for Hong Kongers as for clients elsewhere in the world?
Quelqu'un peut répondre à la question ou?
Would either of you like to answer the question? The question is for both witnesses. Ms. Greenwood or?
Madam Greenwood.
I'm happy to answer the question. So in a general sense, it is very difficult wherever you are to access a pension early. By design, pensions are made to last until you're 65 and you retire. So to access a pension early, it's pretty difficult. It's different but similar. So in Canada, you have to go through a process with the Canada Revenue Agency, as I understand it, and you have to have departed for 2 years and then provide certain documentation to your pension provider. I'm not familiar with the rules in the United States. I should be. I'll get there. But the rules in Hong Kong are quite similar in terms of evidence that you must provide and how the trustee is able to process it. But it is fairly high.
Sorry, I don't have a lot of time. It was a simple question. Are the early withdrawal rules the same for clients in Hong Kong as clients in other countries? Ms. Hewitt, briefly, please.
Hewitt.
Yes, so each jurisdiction sets its own rules for withdrawal from their pension schemes, just like the CPP has rules. The Hong Kong MPF fund, which we're speaking about today, has rules for Hong Kongers departing, which are the ones that I've outlined. And so those rules remain the same regardless of where Hong Kongers move around the world, if that's partly what you're getting at. So if they move to Canada, if they move to the UK, those criteria for withdrawal from the MPF program remain consistent regardless of where in the world they have departed to.
Donc, si je comprends bien.
So if I've understood correctly, the criteria that's been implemented is the same in different jurisdictions where you're working. Do you consider that the current political decisions in Hong Kong are comparable to that of those who are nationals of democratic countries?
Ms. Hewitt? Madame.
Yes, thank you for the question. So I would say that there does seem to be some consistency around the world in terms of having a clear set of criteria for unlocking pensions if you're trying to unlock them early. As my colleague shared, pension systems by design are not intended to access early. They're intended to be there for when you retire and when you reach the age of 65. And so each jurisdiction has implemented, a set of criteria that could be, terminal illness or, in this case, early departure, and outlined criteria for that. And that is something that we see, I believe, in pension jurisdictions around the world and is the case with CPP, for example.
Donc, si je comprends rapidement.
So briefly, if I've understood correctly, these are rules coming from the Chinese government that to prevent individuals from fleeing this government, and this is preventing them from withdrawing their funds because, sorry, just 2 seconds because it's different for me to hear. They were speaking. So what I want to know is, so you're processing requests from Hong Kongers who are fleeing an authoritarian regime in the same manner, or rather you are following the rules that have been implemented by the regime in Beijing instead of respecting democratic values. That's what I've understood.
Ms. Greenwood.
So what we're seeking to do is to do what's best for our customers around the world, and we always will. be devoted to our customers. That's our focus. The Indo-Pacific region of the world has over 4 billion people and accounts for $47 trillion in economic activity. Canadian companies, including Manulife, have been operating in this region for over 100 years. We are obligated to follow the laws in every jurisdiction where we operate, but our core commitment is to our customers, to provide financial security for them in the long run. That's a constant for us. Being there for our customers, regular people everywhere in the world or where we operate, is foundational, whether that's in Canada, in the United States, in Asia, or in Europe.
OK, je veux juste vous faire remarquer que
Okay, but the current situation of Hong Kongers is very complicated. Those who are fleeing the current regime in Hong Kong. What we're requesting is if it would be possible for your financial institutions to look at, instead of interest rates and the money you're making, but seeing if you can lighten the make the rules more flexible to allow, taking into account the situation, the PR situation. Maybe they could simply show proof that their PR is being processed to access this early withdrawal, or are we going to continue to work hand in hand with authoritarian regimes?
Response to Ms. Hewitt.
Thank you for the question. So we must comply with the rules and regulations in all of the jurisdictions in which we operate around the globe. That's true in Canada, and that's true everywhere else. And so I hope that I can give the committee some assurance that we are approving those applications for Canadian permanent residents and Canadian citizens, and we will continue to do so. And so once someone who has left Hong Kong meets the criteria, we are approving those applications. As I've said, all eligible ones, except for those two where they could need to reapply if they fill out the paperwork, and we will continue to do so on an ongoing basis.
Thank you very much. Madam Kwan, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you very much. I just want to be clear on the record for both of the witnesses. Is it the case that not one person has been rejected for the application for early withdrawal of their pensions as a result of them being a BNO visa holder?
Ms. Hewitt and then Ms. Greenwood.
So just to clearly state, if they have a Canadian permanent residency or a Canadian citizenship, regardless of which visa they have, they are eligible, and we are approving those applications, all of them. If they do not have proof of the ability to permanently reside outside of Hong Kong, then we are unable to process those applications until such time as they meet that criteria for proof of permanent departure.
Member.
Sorry, for both witnesses, that same question.
Okay, Madam Greenwood.
I thank the chair. I thank the member for the question. I think the confusion is about what constitutes citizenship and permanent residency, because that, in fact, is a criteria for permanent departure from Hong Kong. It's also a criteria if someone were leaving Canada or the United States, for that matter. But in this case, in the case of the BNO visa, it doesn't convey citizenship. And so that's a question for governments to answer about permanent residency application. That's not something that a company can address.
Well, I know this is outside of our jurisdiction. However, in the case of BNO holders in the UK, which I actually was once upon a time, if they've been out of the country for 5 years plus one, they're deemed to, in the UK, they're deemed to be automatically a citizen. Has anybody from both of your companies been rejected early withdrawal of their pensions in the UK?
Madam Greenwood and then Madam Hewitt. Greenwood.
Thank you so much for the question. I don't have in front of me the UK processing numbers. I can get them for you. But in the case of Canada, the BNO designation is not relevant, actually, in whether an application is processed or not processed. It's based on other criteria, including permanent residency or citizenship in Canada. I'd be happy to get the information and the data on the UK for the member.
Member.
Thank you. If we could get that, that would be appreciated. And for Sun Life as well, can we get that data as well?
Okay.
Yeah, so my 14,590 applications, that is worldwide that I'm speaking to with the 97.5% approval rate. But then when I specifically speak about the approving all Canadian permanent residents and Canadian citizens, that's Canada specific.
Honourable member.
The require for permanent resident status or citizenship in another country, is that a requirement internal to the bank, or is that legislated in law for both witnesses?
Madam Greenwood and then Madam Hewitt. Greenwood.
Thank you so much. So in the financial services sector, we're highly regulated, and everything we do nearly is set forth in laws and regulations. And so the evidence of permanent departure is something that is in the regulations in each of the jurisdictions in which we operate, including this one.
Honourable, Madam Hewitt.
Yes, so the criteria is outlined by the regulator, and we must follow those criteria as outlined. And so each country obviously has a different forms of permanent departure, and obviously in the Canadian case, I'm speaking to the permanent residency and citizenship.
Has any of you been instructed or been directed by the Hong Kong government or the Chinese government to not process BNO visa holders' request for early pension withdrawal?
Madam Hewitt.
So the regulator has set out the criteria and set out what constitutes permanent departure. And so in this case, the BNO visa on its own is not considered permanent departure, but once they have permanent residency, that is considered permanent departure.
Madam Greenwood.
Thank you so much. If I understand the question correctly, when a customer wants to access their pension early, they apply to us, and we do the first processing.
Just 1 second, please. Madam Kwan, you want to clear up?
Thank you. Yes, I think my question was a simple yes or no question, whether or not the Hong Kong Authority or the Chinese government has spoken with any of your agencies about withholding early withdrawal pension funds for BNO visa holders. Is a yes or no question.
Madam Greenwood.
The answer to that is no. We interact with governments around the world and regulators, but no. I think the direct answer to your question is no, if I understand it properly.
Thank you. Madam Hewitt.
No, they've set out the criteria, and that's what we're following, but they have not.
Madam Kwan.
What's the processing time for the applications? What's your average processing time?
Madam Hewitt.
That is a good question. I don't have that information in front of me, but I do know that we are processing them expeditiously. It's not a very long wait time for those that are eligible.
Thank you. Madam Greenwood.
I don't know the answer to the processing time. It assumes that all the documentation is complete and your application is ready to go. I can absolutely get that for the member.
Honourable member.
Thank you very much. I would appreciate that if we could get that information for from both of the witnesses. And I just want to reconfirm on the request. Okay, thank you. I'll leave it at that. How much more time do I have?
About 14 seconds.
14 seconds. Okay, well, maybe I'll just make a quick comment, because I think the problem lies in here. Because if the requirement is that people have to show that they have PR applications, process or receive their PR card before they can get their pension, for those who are fleeing Hong Kong right now, they're actually in desperate need of access of that funds in order to survive before they get the PR. And so it brings us back to the point on this interim program that the federal government has announced, which we don't know how long it's going to take, is not going to help people because they will not be able to access their pension funds. And that means that they have to expedite the PR application process. That's the only way that they can access their funds.
Thank you very much, Madam Kwan. We will go to the second round. 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And Mr. Kmich seems to be ready. 4 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So very quickly, the MPFA released a statement on March 10, 2021, where it renewed its guidance for MPF withdrawals and said that British national overseas passports were no longer recognized by the Hong Kong government as a valid travel document. Can you then tell me, do your companies follow this guideline? Ms. Greenwood, Ms. Hewitt, just simple yes or no.
Ms. Greenwood.
Our company complies with the regulations in all the jurisdictions in which we operate. That's the answer to that is yes, we do.
Madam Hewitt.
Yes, so we, in terms of the travel documents, that part isn't the relevant portion for us. The relevant part is what is considered a proof of permanent departure. The relevancy of travel is not relevant to our decision making.
Thank you, Ms. Hewitt. So that means I want this data then, because there's so many numbers bandied about and eligibility keeps being used in front of the number. So I want to know how many total applications were made by Canadian PR holders and citizens who are originating from Hong Kong. And on the PR card specifically, I want to know how many times did GBN appear under nationality, how many times appeared GBO, GBR, and GBS on the PR cards. And this is important because we're being told that those where it appears as GBN on the PR card, that's how you identify a BNO passport holder who's come to Canada and obtained permanent residency in Canada. And then now leads me to my next question. I've heard eligibility in front of all of your numbers. How many times did the MPFA reject the applications approved by Sun Life? How many times did the MPFA reject the applications submitted by Manulife? Ms. Hewitt, if you could start.
Sure. Thank you for the question. So as I shared in my opening remarks, the MPFA declined 1.2% of our applications. I believe the number is around 172 applicants, and that's globally, not specific to Canada. And in those cases, it was folks who had previously accessed the permanent departure streams. You're only allowed to permanently depart and use that stream for early unlocking once in your lifetime, and so those folks
Sorry,
had
Ms. Hewitt,
previously
I'm going to cut you off
accessed
right
that.
there.
Sure.
Can you provide the committee the exact number just for Canada? And Chair, if I could hear Ms. Greenwood's answer.
Sure. Madam Greenwood, go ahead, please.
Yes, absolutely. So 4,650 requests from 2021 to 2023 for early withdrawal for the reason of permanent departure to Canada. We were able to process 3,750 of those. 3% of the customers did not provide sufficient evidence of the right to permanently reside in Canada. The remaining customers either had incomplete documentation or a variety of other reasons like a signature mismatch or a previous MPF withdrawal. I want to assure the member.
Thank you, Ms. Greenwood. I appreciate that answer.
Sure.
That's a repetition of what other members have heard as an answer. So to both of you, and Chair, if you could seek just consent of the committee for this information to be brought to us. Total applications, again, citizens of Canada, PR holders, where those four nationality identifiers appear, how many were approved, how many were rejected by the MPFA, how many were declined, rejected by the companies themselves. If we could have that information, that would give us certainty. And lastly, just my last question, because my time's running out, why are you still operating in an autocratic totalitarian regime that's dominated by Beijing?
Madam Hewitt and Ms. Greenwood, brief answers.
Thank you for the question. So we have been in Hong Kong since the 1890s, as I shared with the committee. We have long-term commitments to our clients. In this case, almost 1 million Hong Kongers depend on us for their financial security and for the security of future generations and their families. These commitments last 30, 40, 50 years. These are long-dated products, life insurance, critical illness types of products. And so we continue to be there for our clients in their times of need and plan to continue to support them now and into the future.
Madam Greenwood, we are at 4:30. Please brief answer.
Thank you. Manulife is a proud Canadian company with a long history of serving our customers, regular people across many jurisdictions for decades. Wherever we do business, we focus on protecting families through insurance and also pensions to secure their retirement. It's true in Asia, it's true in the United States, it's true in Canada. We are proud of the work we do for our customers, and we will remain devoted to our customers.
Thank you very much. Now we will go to Mr. Chang. 4 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank the two witnesses for being here. So this question is for both. Despite the possibility challenge in repatriating funds to Canadian account holders, Do you not believe Manulife and Sun Life have a responsibility to fulfill the obligation to pensioners despite possible transfer issues?
Madam Hewitt and Greenwood.
So I would confirm to the committee that we continue to support our clients and provide them these services in their retirement. Again, these are intended to be there for them when they're 65 and into their retirement years. And then for those who have departed and are Canadian permanent residents and Canadian citizens, we are approving all of the applications that we receive that are eligible for the early unlocking of their funds that meet those criteria.
Madam Greenwood.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Okay, I'll stop the watch. Mr. Chang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Despite possible challenges in repatriating funds to Canadian account holders, do you not believe Manulife and Sun Life have a responsibility to fulfill their obligation to pensioners despite possible transfer issues?
Madam Greenwood.
Thank you so much for the question. We are absolutely devoted to fulfilling our obligation to pension holders. We've been doing that for 137 years. We seek to do what's best for our customers around the world. We always will do that. And we will also comply with the rule of law and the regulations that govern the activities of this highly regulated financial services sector in which we find ourselves.
Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What is the total pension liability currently held by your respected insurance companies to Hong Kongers? And what are the total deposit and estimated values?
Madam Greenwood, then Madam Hewitt. Please go ahead.
I don't have that information in front of me today, but would be happy to follow up with the committee with that information.
Thank you, Madam Greenwood.
Thank you so much for the question. As of March 31st, 2024, Manulife manages in Hong Kong dollars, 330 billion of customer savings in MPF pensions. This is publicly available information. You could look at the Mercer MPF market share report or also our public filings for our assets and management.
Honourable Member.
Assets under management. Mm-hmm.
And what have you communicated to your clients on this issue? On what timeline do you think this can be resolved so that pensioners can get what they are owed?
Madam Greenwood.
Thank you so much. So the question of whether a customer is entitled to permanent residency in Canada or Canadian citizenship is one for the policymakers. In terms of what we communicate, we walk through the process as it is today, which is they apply for early withdrawal, they submit a form, they make a statutory declaration that they have departed or will depart from Hong Kong to reside elsewhere, and that they have no intention of returning to Hong Kong for employment or resettlement. The form is prescribed by the regulator, as we've discussed. They also provide proof that they're permitted to permanently reside in a place outside of Hong Kong, and that could be a passport or permanent residency. And then we go through the customer service process, and if we are unable to process their application for reasons of mismatched documentation, we help them through that process as well, and they can always reapply.
Ms. Hewitt, 20 seconds.
So we have a similar process when we're working with clients. I will maybe add to that we do have a pension services hotline that clients can reach out to if they need individualized assistance processing their application, and that's something that we proactively communicate to clients and allow them to access if they need assistance while completing their application for early withdrawal.
Thank you very much. We will go to Mr. Brunel de Seb. Mr. Brunel de Seb, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Witnesses, are you aware of the fact that currently your companies are making millions of dollars in profit, preventing desperate individuals to flee an authoritarian regime and not allowing them to access their funds? And we're talking about a totalitarian regime. So I have a simple question. Do your company's values, are your company's values rather profit or freedom and democracy?
Good.
So I can confirm that we continue to focus on the client and put them at the center of anything we do anywhere around the world. And so we are providing access to Canadian citizens and Canadian permanent residents, and I want to assure the committee of that, to access to their funds when they permanently depart Hong Kong, and we will continue to do so. And then more generally, we hold on to the funds for retirement. This is, again, a retirement system that's intended to be there into their later years in life, and so by design, it is has specific criteria for withdrawal prior to retirement date. And so we continue to administer the program and ensure that those who can access those funds early are able to do so. And then otherwise, we are stewards of that money for the almost 1 million Hong Kongers who rely on us.
Honourable member, you want Greenwood to answer too?
Malheureusement, les gens de Hong Kong Watch.
Unfortunately, for those from Hong Kong Watch and Hong Kong Link, have given us completely different information, and unfortunately what I've understood today is that making a profit on the retirement funds of individuals is more important to them, and they're not allowing these individuals to access their retirement funds because of the regime in Beijing.
1 minute and 50 seconds. Madam Kwan, please go ahead.
I have two quick questions. One is, outside of your companies who will make the decision about whether or not someone can have an early withdrawal of their pensions, is there another authority that could make that decision to supersede it or override it? The other question is, are there provisions within your consideration for persecuted people who may request early withdrawal, and even though they may not have PR or citizenship in another country, but is in the process of seeking a pathway for permanent residence or citizenship in another country?
Madam Greenwood.
I thank the member for the question. From where we sit, we're not in a position to be able to fast-track someone's permanent residency application or citizenship in any country in the world. That, of course, is something that governments have to consider themselves. And once that has been established, we're able to process the early fund withdrawal. And otherwise, we hold the pensions for our customers until they're able to withdraw them.
Madam Greenwood, hold on. To the honourable member, sure. Madam Kwan, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little bit frustrated. That wasn't my question. My question was, are there provisions within your consideration that will grant people this ability to have an early withdrawal as they're in the process of seeking permanent residence or citizenship in another country? And I'm talking about people who are perhaps asylum seekers who are being persecuted. Is there any consideration for that? I just want a straight-up answer to my question. And then also a straight-up answer with respect to, is there any authorities that could supersede your decision, either in advance or override it afterwards?
Madam Greenwood.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, just a minute. Let me clear.
Sure.
Do you understand the question, Madam Greenwood, or you want me to ask the honourable member to repeat?
I believe I understand. I'll do my best.
Thank you. Go ahead, then.
Mr. Chairman, I'll do my best to answer it. I'll do my best to answer it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much. So we abide by laws and regulations in the jurisdiction in which we operate all around the world, as you would expect us to do as a highly regulated industry. So there's nothing that supersedes that. We abide by the regulations for financial services, as everyone in the industry does, for the benefit, by the way, and the protection of our customers and of their pensions. I think that was the question, if I got it right.
Thank you. Madam Hewitt, do you want to contribute to this question?
I can just answer maybe the first part of the question, which was the process for the approval. So the trustee is the first one to review the applications. That's the normal course. It comes into the trustee, the application for early departure. We verify whether the application has met those 3 criteria that have been outlined. And then once we have verified that, we forward the application to the MPFA, the regulator, and they confirm that the applicant has not previously accessed the permanent departure stream, because we do not have access to an applicant's entire history. We just have their current history, and so the MPFA reviews from that perspective, and then that's the process.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the committee members, I want to thank Ms. Hewitt and Ms. Greenwood for being with us. Thank you. Very best to
Thank
you.
you.
And with
Thank you.
this,
Thank
I
you.
would like to adjourn the meeting. Meeting is adjourned.